We got a lot of people that are suffering right now due to the coronavirus. And this is serious business, man. This is what's happening all across the country. People are, some people are going stir crazy just because of the fact that they can't get out and do what they used to do. Some people are financially strapped. Financially strapped. There's no money coming in. They were living paycheck to paycheck, and now there's no dinero, okay? There are people with small businesses who are in worse positions because they got employees they got to break the news to and tell them, hey, no mas. Or they're trying to get money from the government who somehow gave all the money to the big corporations. Oh, man, who knew that was going to happen? So for a lot of people, man, this is a very rough time. But what's going on in Michigan right now? I'm still trying to wrap my head around what people thinking about here, what's really happening. The protests in Michigan have gotten even worse. These people done stormed the Capitol building. Now, this is based on the reports that they're putting out. I wish I was in Michigan to find out exactly what's going on, okay? But based on what I'm reading, these fools that took over the Michigan State Police now. Michigan State Police. They say Governor Gretchen Whitmer was trapped inside the Capitol building by demonstrators protesting against her stay-at-home order. They say the governor was trapped, could not leave the state building because protesters had entered the building, some of them carrying firearms. A Michigan Senator, Dana Polhanke, says had tweeted this afternoon saying that protesters were directly above her, men with rifles yelling at us. Some of my colleagues who own bulletproof vests are wearing them. I have never appreciated a sergeant of arms more than today. That's the tweet, okay? So, now according to the Michigan Police Department, there were about 400 to 700 people descended upon the state building, and they dispersed around 5 p.m. There was only one arrest, and that one arrest was because a couple of the demonstrators got into an argument with each other. Okay, so here goes one of the images. Let's see, we got another one here. Now, this is something I saw online, sort of depicting what's happening. These pieces of crap, this is not a strong man, this is a weak-ass moron. It's time for these racist morons to go back into hiding because Americans will stand up to you. Americans will stand up to you. Okay, this guy's yelling, obviously pissed off. Okay, let me come back on screen. One of the problems I had with this story is that there's really no way to know exactly what took place. Now, of course, the media is making it look one way, right? It's making it look like we got a bunch of deranged people just out here with guns. I'm going to be honest with you. I didn't see a lot of guns in the state capitol building. I saw those guys up on the scaffolding, up on whatever that was, but down on the floor where you saw the major crowd of people, I didn't see people with guns down there. That's what I saw. Now, of course, yes, there were people outside with guns. Don't get me wrong, people had guns. Maybe they left them outside to go in the state building, but then I saw people with guns in the state building. So, hey, how many guns does it take before people get worried? And if the governor of Michigan was actually concerned about his safety, that's kind of a big deal. Kind of a big deal because, you're not supposed to think you're going to get shot by your constituents. And remember, this is all about stay-at-home orders. People want to go back to work or resume their lives. This is the thing, guys. There's no such thing as resuming your life at this point. I mean, you can resume your life, but it'll never be the life you had before. Life has changed. Get it? It's different now. It's the same way we feel after Trump got elected. The country will never go back to the way it was. We have had a game show host as a president. That's it. All bets off. Things are different. It's not going to go back. You can try to run a Joe Biden if you want to, but it's not going to go back to the way it was. That's off the table. That's not an option. It's sort of like when you left your mama's house and you started doing what you wanted to do with your life. Things got tough. You went back home, but it was never the same because you had a taste of the wild side. That's America. Now, with a pandemic where, 6,000 people dying a day or some crazy number, do you realize that we have people that don't understand why a stay-at-home order makes sense? We are running out of dirt. The Veteran Affairs Administration just ordered $300,000 worth of body bags. They didn't order them for fun, Johnson. It's because veterans in VA homes are dying at a rate that they have to stock up on ways to put the bodies in something. You may think it's not true, and we're going to get to that because we're going to cover another story about that, but this is what's happening. Now, where there's a disconnection is there's some people, to a certain degree, I'm not sure exactly how to believe or what to believe about the portion of people that just want to get their hair did or their eyebrows teased, and how many people are really hurting financially. And I don't want to buy into the narrative that everybody out there just wants to go-kart riding. I don't want to buy into that. I think some people there have to make a living. But even if it's 50-50, Johnson, that's too lopsided. Okay? Too lopsided. Now, as a black person in America, I got to remind you that you don't always treat us as nice. No, you don't always treat us as nice when we have guns and stuff. You get real afraid when we got guns. For some reason, you trust each other with guns, but when we have guns, y'all lose your minds. As this young lady here reminded me, Alma Bachman. We follow each other on Twitter. She says, I can't think about Tamir Rice without wanting to cry. We live in a country where white men can terrorize government officials with weapons, while a black kid can't play with a toy gun. This is a shithole country. Okay, so you may not want to accept this, right? And I'm not saying it's all your fault, Johnson. You just live here like I do. But you need to understand how some people view this. We got a bunch of pissed off white guys and women at a state capitol making people uneasy. And the worst thing that happens is one person gets arrested for punching each other. And then we have a child in Ohio in a gun state, carry gun state, you can carry a gun, who's killed at a park with a toy gun. Not because he tried to rob someone, not because he was shooting something, because it looked like it was real. You understand? They shot him and blew his brains out. But we got these protesters who are allowed to carry AR-15s or whatever type of rifles they want to in public, and we're pissed off with signs saying we want our government back. And people aren't worried. They're not afraid. Cops are suddenly not worried they're going to get shot. Do you understand that may seem a little biased? A little biased. So put a pin in that. Put a pin in that, America, because we also want to remind you of this. See, as much as I want to say, hey, what about the people whose money ain't right? And what about the good peoples that, have businesses that they've been working at, that they've been building, blood, sweat, and tears for however long, a year, 2 years, 5 years, 10 years, businesses handed down in the family that are going bye-bye because they can't open up and their bills are piling up. And as much as I want to feel for that, I keep seeing this type of nonsense that really puts a damper on my solidarity with you guys. when I see shit like this, mass equals slavery. Here we have Karen. Okay? And I'm going to call it Karen. All right? Because you're in a privileged position as being a white lady in America. The only person more powerful than white women in America are white men. Are white guys. Okay? And she feels like she a slave because she's been told to wear a mask. Now, there's a couple things wrong with this picture. I don't know if you guys notice this. She's saying slavery, mask equals slavery. Notice this. Notice she ain't wearing one. Okay? Notice she said mask is slavery, but she ain't wearing one. So it kind of defeats the purpose because you're not actually wearing one, are you? Now, even if you're dumb enough to think that a CDC order, a directive, a guidance to stop the spread of a pandemic that's killing thousands of people on a daily basis. We've already lost more people than we lost in Vietnam. Do you understand? Just because it's not you yet doesn't mean it's not real, Johnson. Keep on messing around, maybe it will be. And then on your last words can be, I didn't know it was real. But this woman thinks that wearing a mask to prevent the spread of a virus is slavery. Now, there are a lot of dead people in America that could tell you different. There are a lot of ancestors. There are a lot of people who are descendants of slaves in America that could tell you it's a big difference. There are people literally in this world today who are slaves. Literally. There are sex slaves. There are children who are slaves. And there are men, grown-ass men and women in places like Libya who are literally slaves right now. And their problem, the only problem isn't whether they're going to get their hair done, or can they go get a bucket of chicken, or they can't go fishing. Their problem is they can't do anything. They are raped, beaten, and killed and sold like livestock. If you would like to share your story of hardship, Michiganders, and people in other states too. I think Wisconsin was another bid of protest. Virginia, for instance. Send your stories to Tim at TimBlackTV.com, and we'll cover it. I have no problems doing that. Or you can call up tomorrow on the Freedom Friday show and tell us and put some color and some context to why you guys are protesting. Because to some of us, a lot of you seem like this lady here, totally disconnected from reality.